All right. So again, just to recap here. So just to generate some sample trade signals here, I'm just using a simple bloodhound, moving average crossover template here. So it'll generate so this cross down here of the two moving averages will generate a short signal. So Blackbird number 1 would have entered into a short position right there at that crossover. All right, so this Blackbird number 1 has its normal signals, the signals in the correct direction for the trade in Blackbird number 1 there, and and our order is, so in order to get this to work correctly between Blackbird number 1 and Blackbird number 2, we're using a limit order, so that way the price is going to be known for Blackbird number 2. So if you're using a limit order, then that's kind of basically it's pre-calculating the exact entry price for the order. So that way Blackbird number 2, we can back engineer the entry order in Blackbird number 2 and know where that entry got filled. And so when we know that when we know the exact price for the entry order, then we could also calculate where the stop loss is going to be, right? Because this will be just a simple, fixed tick offset. So we're going to use 20 tick offset here for the stop loss and a 20 tick profit target as well, right? So we have a known entry price, and then we also will have a known profit target and known stop loss locations as well. So that way Blackbird number 2 we can back engineer those prices in Blackbird number 2. So all right, so this is set up okay. So now let's go into Blackbird number 2, and I'll load up the file that we had saved for Blackbird number 2 there. All right, so now a quick summary of Blackbird number 2. So the bloodhound signals for Blackbird number 2 is I've taken the crossover signals and just created a new logic template that generates an opposite or a reversed trade signal, right? Because if for example, if Blackbird number 1 is going to be taking a short trade at this crossover, then we want Blackbird number 2 to be taking a long trade. So that way, if the stop loss gets hit, right, when the stop loss gets hit, what's desired is to be reversed into a long position. So Blackbird's taking that long. So I had to take Bloodhound and create a logic template that generates the exact opposite trade signal in Bloodhound for Blackbird number 2. And then the entry order here for Blackbird number 2, it's going to be a stop position, right? Because Blackbird number 2 is going to be taking the opposite entry order, or the opposite position there. And then we were able to calculate the initial placement, or the initial price for that entry order. So we know that Blackbird number 1, it had a limit order at the closing price -2, and then we know we have a stop loss, which is 20 ticks from that. So we just took -2 and then subtracted another 20 ticks from that. So get -22. At least I think that's right. We'll find out here when we test it. It could actually be see. Just double checking the math in my head. It might actually be negative 18. No, that is correct. No, minus 22 should be correct. Yeah. Okay, and then yeah, one thing that was overlooked was canceling BlackBird number 2's order if the profit target of BlackBird number 1 gets hit, right? Then we want to cancel the reversal hedge position that BlackBird number 2 is trying to accomplish. So, so we want to use this ticks against direction, and so let's see, doing the so it should be, I think, just 20 ticks. So BlackBird number 1 had a 20 tick profit target there. So so I believe just putting in a 20 tick against direction. I think 20 ticks should be right. Maybe it's could be. Just wondering if it's going to be 20 ticks or 18 ticks. So I guess 20 ticks would be safer there. More conservative. Well, actually, no, 18 ticks would be more conservative. So we could knock this down to 18 ticks to be a little more conservative. So, all right. So this is our setup for the hedged trade if the stop loss gets hit. And so the number of contracts was doubled down, and the profit target was half the distance. The stop loss also was half the distance. And then I just threw in, just for some fun, I threw in a secondary contract just to hopefully possibly ink out a little bit of a profit out of this instead of just breaking even with the first order set. Hopefully the second order set will bring us a little profit there. So, all right, so that's the setup for BlackBird number 2. And all right, I think we're good to go. We just need to wait for the market now to move up and generate a long cross up of our moving averages, so that way we get those trade signals in there. Oh, and also, wanted to refresh the chart so we see those bloodhound signals on here. So there we go. All right. So we can see, yeah, let's see. I didn't change the name here. Let me go in here and change the name. Just a second here. Just a moment here, guys. I'm gonna mute some microphones. I can hear some background noise. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna label one of these as BlackBird number 2. I think, yeah, it's this one. All right. So to help me know which is which, we'll just put a BlackBird number 2 on the label there. All right, turn that back on. And all right, shoot, I was hoping that the label over here would reflect, would have a number 2, so I know actually which one is which. But you know, I guess realistically, it really doesn't matter here. All right, so let's get the market up, move that market up a little bit, and I'm just going to check. All right, so that is BlackBird number 2 on the right. And we have Blackbird number 1 should be on the left. Yeah, okay. All right, so we know which is which. Yeah, so this the next update. The next update actually has a little window there that will display the file name here, right? So right now the only way to see the file name that you have loaded into Blackbird is right from the title bar here. But in the next update, there's actually a little window there that will that gives you the file name, so you can see what systems you have loaded into each Blackbird if you do have 2 Blackbirds running there. So, all right, so we're still just waiting for those moving averages to cross up and put a position on. And while we're waiting on that, I'm just going to double check, see if I can catch any oversights or any mistakes. Yeah, I think everything looks good, but of course the only way to know for sure is to always test your system, test your ideas out. All right, let me take a look at the board here. Yeah, it looks like some questions have rolled in. Yeah, all right, so Thomas is just commenting on the number of contracts and profit targets for Blackbird number 2. Right. So yeah, just to kind of recap while we're waiting on the trade signals here. Right. So Blackbird, the standard trade setup is going to be a 20 tick profit target, 20 tick stop loss. Just something to go with as an example, right? So that's the original trade, the trade plan there for the original order, right? But if this original order fails and the stop loss gets hit, and oh, okay, hold on. So we do have orders in play, and let's see what happened. Yeah, maybe we will have to do this on 2 separate charts. Let's see here. All right, so our limit order got filled, and let's take the trend down here. So let's see. So Blackbird's stop entry, let's see, it was ignored. Let's see, oh, above the market. Oh, okay, that's right. Yes, that makes sense. All right, so let's close that out, and all right. So some thinking was reversed here. So remember, so this is the order set for Blackbird number 2, and so Blackbird number 2 is taking a short trade, but I put my entry order in backwards because I'm thinking in terms of a long trade. So I put negative ticks in there. Yeah, I put negative ticks in, a negative tick offset, which actually for a short trade, that's going to put it up, that's going to put it up top. But for a short trade, you want to put positive ticks in there, and it'll put, put positive ticks in there. So, yeah. All right, so let's make that change real quick here. So, yeah, see, so for a short position, we're adding 22 ticks, right? We're always focusing on the long trade side because that's, it's kind of easier to think that way. But actually the short, so Blackbird number 2 is going to be taking a short trade when we had this long cross up. So we actually wanted to do a negative on the short side, and there we go. All right. So that should fix it. And then let's fix our secondary little trade here. So we'll put a negative in there. And, oh, there we go. And, oh, let's put that cancel in there as well. Let's see, I think they're both set to 18. Yeah, 18 ticks against direction, 18 ticks against direction. Okay, good. All right. Let's give this another shot here. All right, this always proves the point. It's good to test, and test. Basically, your mindset should be to figure out how to break your idea. You know, what kind of price action, you know, what kind of price movement, what kind of market movements can you do that will actually kind of reveal the, you know, the flaws in your setup there. So you want to try and break it. And then if you can't break it, then you know you should have a good system ready to go in a live environment there. So, all right. So while we're waiting for that to come down, let me take a look at the board here. It looks like some other questions came in. Let's see. So Frank is asking, do we need to reverse the signs on the profit and stop loss entries? Or is that handled automatically? So I'm assuming you're talking about probably BlackBird number 2 when I had this up. So the issue with the entry order was that I'm using a stop entry, right? So stops are always opposite of limit orders, right? So that's where the confusion came in. But still, a profit target is a profit target. So on the profit targets there, you know, so we're setting up to take a short trade for BlackBird. BlackBird number 1 is going to be taking a short trade here soon, but BlackBird number 2 is going to be taking the opposite. It'll be taking a long trade. So still, we want our profit target to be a positive value for a long trade and a negative for a short trade, right? So profit targets, you know, regardless, even though it's a hedge, the profit target is still a limit order, right? Stop losses are still a stop. So those guys don't change. What did change is that BlackBird number 2 is running a stop entry, whereas BlackBird number 2 is running a limit entry, right? And those are opposite entry type orders. So that's why we had to reverse the number of tick offsets. That's why we had to go from a negative to a positive, because we switched from a limit entry to a stop entry, right? So that probably makes sense to you guys. All right, I really got to pull that market down here. And let's see what other question we got here. Let's see. So Thomas is asking about Mike's comment about requiring a delay on the hedge scenario. I'm not sure off the top of my head. Give me a moment to think about that, Thomas. Let's see. Okay, so Thomas, yeah, let me think about your question, and I'm going to get back to Frank. Oh, hold on a sec. Okay, so there we go. We got, all right, so we got our position on. So now let me back the market up. So we're in a short trade. So I'm going to reverse the market on here. And, oh, all right, shoot. We might have to do this one more time because our moving averages might reverse on us. So I should have turned on this enter only when flat. That way a reversal crossover doesn't interfere here. All right, let me pause this for a moment here. So yeah, so this looks like it's working perfectly. So you can see our stop loss is sitting right on top of the stop entry order from BlackBird number 2. So things are looking good so far. So hopefully those moving averages don't cross each other before price moves up and fills this stop and entry order. So, but let me go in and make this adjustment here. Right, so I'm doing the enter only when flat just so that we don't, in case we get a crossover too soon, you know, I want to prevent another crossover signal from canceling this trade out, because we want to see price, you know, moving up and hitting these orders, you know, to just make sure everything's working correctly here. All right, so so it looks like, you know, our reversal hedge is going to work out. So once we kind of confirm that, then we'll test getting the profit target hit of BlackBird number 1, you know, and then make sure that BlackBird number 2 cancels its entry order, you know, around the location of the profit target for BlackBird number 1. All right, we're almost there. And yeah, so far so good. Kind of pause thing. Let's take a look at the positions here. Yeah, so we're have a net total of 3 long positions, which is what I set in there, right? So 2 positions. So right, so order set A has 2 contracts on its profit target. That was the original question or original scenario posed by Thomas, and then I added this extra 1 contract, you know, profit target for order set B there. So, all right, yeah. So we can see we had a let's open this up here. All right, so we had a realized negative 200, and let's see, actually, yeah, that sounded correct. A realized negative 200 was actually 210, but so as we get this next profit target hit, we should end up with about a 50 tick profit. So I might have had this realized P&L might have been affected by an earlier trade. Let's see. Let's take a look at our executions here. Well, all right, yeah, so positive 40 bucks. All right, so that seems to be working out there. Let's take a look at the executions, and yeah, I wish the executions would show the P&L. Well, all right, I don't want to dig too much into the P&L. Just, yeah, you know, I guess what really counts is, there we go. So we did end up with a little bit of a positive. Oh, and great, here we go. Here's our next trade fired off for us. So we went long. All right, and we got the order filled. Excellent. All right, very nice. It's set up for us very nicely. Okay, so let me. I'm going to move the trend up so that way we get this profit target hit. Get the original profit target hit from BlackBird number 1, and then we want to make sure that the entry order underneath our stop loss here, this entry order from BlackBird number 2, we want to make sure that gets canceled when the profit target gets hit. And so what we have set up here is in BlackBird number 2, right, we have a cancel after set to 18 ticks there. So we might need to set it to 20 ticks. I kind of hedged the cancel a little bit. So we'll see if that entry order cancels too soon or not. All right. So let's see. All right. So that order's not canceling yet. Oh, actually, order set A did cancel. It looks like maybe I didn't set the cancellation up correctly for B. Yeah, so order set B, let's see, it does look correct. Yeah, it takes against direction. And let's see, maybe when I accidentally moved that order, it didn't trigger. Let's see, now that was a while ago. So when you guys are, kind of analyzing what's going on here, you can remember that a lot of information is put in the log tab here. Yeah, so that looks like the entry that removed. Let's see, is that? No, that was not the entry order. There we go. There it is. So that was the cancellation for the stop entry order for order set A. Yeah, okay, great. And let's see. So we do have an entry here for this stop entry for order set B. And let's see, pending change. Yeah, it's just pending a change for some reason. Well, all right, let's just let's test this out again. So let me pull the market down, and we're going to test this. Test this again. Let's close that out. All right, make sure everything's closed. Good deal. Okay, so let's just pull the market down, and we'll get another short signal generated here. Let's set up a short trade here. Okay, so we're waiting on that. Let me take a look at the chat box here, see if there's any questions. Let's see. All right, so Thomas is asking, this hedge scenario setup that we're working on right now, he's asking, is it fully realized in the current version? So Thomas, I only run the released version in these workshops. I never run the beta version in these workshops, right? Because there's right, I can't be demonstrating differences between the beta and what's released in these workshops. So these workshops only use the released version of the software. So if I go up here and go to About, you'll see the latest version here is 1.232 and then 62.67. So really kind of this third set of digits here is the number to keep an eye on. So 62.67 is the latest released version that's downloadable from the website. And all right, so we're almost ready to get that next short position on here to test the canceling of BlackBird number 2's order. So let's see. All right, I'll get to Thomas's trailing stop loss question here in a moment. So let's let's finish this situation here. All right, so we want to get this order filled. All right, there we go. So now I'm going to move the market down. We're going to get this profit target hit and just double check to make sure that the stop entry orders for BlackBird number 2 get canceled. And let's see. All right. Well, again, order A got canceled, but order B is not getting canceled. Let's see. So I'm going to see if, let's see if I can use this order status changed here. All right, yeah, that should do it. So what I'm going to do is, so for order set B here, I'm going to use a, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the order status for the stop entry order for A, the order set A's entry order, and if it gets canceled, so if that cancellation event happens, then we'll set the action to cancel this entry order. So cancel entry order B. All right, so let's name this here. Okay, so let's we'll set this up to get a long entry order going here and test this again. All right, so let's see. So while we're waiting on this, let me take a look at the questions here. All right, so yes, let's see. So Thomas's next question is about using trailing stop losses for both BlackBird 1 and BlackBird 2. Let's see. So yes, you could definitely use trailing stop losses for BlackBird number 1 and BlackBird number 2. Absolutely, but keep in mind that the way that BlackBird number 2 knows where to get filled at the stop loss of BlackBird number 1 is that the stop loss for BlackBird number 1 never moves, right? If you start moving the stop loss for BlackBird number 1, then BlackBird number 2 is going to lose track of that, right? So keep in mind, so Thomas, really what you're wanting to do really requires a customized coded strategy, right? Because you're wanting to link orders together. So when one order gets filled or canceled, that triggers another order event. So what you're wanting to do is really what you're wanting is proper, order monitoring and linking, right? And so these two Blackbirds are not monitoring each other's orders. We're able to mathematically make it act as if Blackbird number 2 is working in conjunction with Blackbird number 1, but there is no direct linking of the orders, right? So if you start moving your stop losses around, you start trailing them, then you lose, right, you lose that fixed location knowledge that Blackbird number 2 has of where Blackbird number 1's stop loss is, right? So yeah, if you start moving, bottom line is when you start moving stop losses around, and trailing and stuff, then I don't think there's any way that Blackbird number 2 could keep track of a trailing stop loss for Blackbird number 1, not without some kind of direct linkage, right? So for example, in Blackbird number 2, right, in order to cancel, in order to get order set B's entry order, in order to get it canceled, I created this trailing rule that that actually has a link to, right, so this order status change, right, that creates a link between one order to another order. So I've linked order B to entry order A. So if A gets canceled, B will know that, and then B will cancel itself. All right, so that's a direct order linking, and so that's really what you're wanting to do. That's the proper way to do it there, to do that hedging, which is going to require some custom coded strategy for that situation. So I don't think there's going to be any way for us to link two different Blackbirds to each other. That's going to be stepping too far out of the limitations of NinjaTrader. So all right, so hold on a sec. Let me get this order filled. All right, so then let's move the market back up, and we'll get this profit target filled and make sure that both of the entry orders get canceled here. All right, so let me take a look at the question board again. Okay, so yeah, so Thomas, your last question there about, so if the stop loss is moved, then you want to cancel the order for Blackbird number 2. So you want to cancel the hedging order. And oh, hold on, let me see here. Let's take a look. Gosh, so order B is just not canceling there. All right, well, at least we know that. Not sure why the secondary order is not canceling. We'll have to do some testing on that, but at least the good news is that B was an extra order that I threw in there on my own, just for some fun. Yeah. So we could just remove B since that was an extra step I threw in. Okay, no, it didn't cancel. I thought it had canceled there. Okay, let's see. Let's save that. All right. So there, I'm just going to go in and save both of these Blackbird settings. There we go. All right, so let me get back to the questions here. Okay. All right. Yeah. So so if you want, so getting back to Thomas's question about canceling the hedged order in Blackbird number 2, when the stop loss starts trailing for BlackBird number 1, well, then really that's a matter of, so if we put in, we could do something like the arrow. Let's set up a simple trailing here. So how about if I'll just set up for the sake of something quick here, I'll just set up like a break even, just a one-time break even trailing here. Or let's see, or maybe not a break even, but let's see. How about I'll just do we'll decrease the stop loss to a 10 tick. All right, so we're going to move it to a 10 tick stop loss. And let's see. Yeah, this will be real easy. So let's say when we reach 10 ticks of profitability here. So our delay is once we reach 10 ticks of profitability, then that's when we'll move our stop loss to a 10 tick stop loss, like so. All right. So to change our stop loss to a 10 tick stop loss, right? You take the entry price and you just subtract 10 ticks from the entry price, right? So just keep in mind for the initial placement, that's exactly what we did. So for your initial placement on a stop loss and a profit target, right, you always take the entry price and then you either subtract an offset for a stop loss or you add an offset for a profit target. There. So, right, and that's for the long side. And of course, the short trade would be the opposite. So, but as long as you're adjusting the long side correctly, the short side reverses itself automatically, right? So, like if I change this to 10, right, we can see the short side is changing automatically to 10. And if I go to a positive number, the short side automatically switches to a negative number there, -6. So, all right, anyways, let me put this back to where it should be. There we go. All right, so all right, yeah, so I've set up this basically this one-time kind of movement of the stop loss there. So again, we know we have a known distance, right? We have a known distance of 10 ticks. So when price moves to 10 ticks in profitability, that's a known fixed value there. And so we could take this 10 tick distance that we know, which is going to move our stop loss. So we can take that and plug that into BlackBird number 2 and then change our cancel. So instead of canceling at 18 ticks, right, we'll cancel at 10 ticks instead, right? Because we know our stop loss is going to move after 10 ticks of profitability. So for BlackBird number 2, that would actually be a loss. That would be a 10 tick loss for BlackBird number 2, right? That would be the market moving in the wrong direction or against the direction of the trade. So, all right, yeah, let's let me go and adjust this one too as well. And clearly, if you put trailing rules in Blackbird number 2 in the hedged order, obviously that's not going to affect anything. It's not going to affect Blackbird number 1. It's not going to affect the original position because the original position has been stopped out and it's closed out and everything. So yeah, so we can definitely go in here. I'll just create a simple standard trailing there. We'll just set this up to a standard trailing. So that's just going to be a simple 10 tick fixed trailing that starts trailing immediately. So let's save that as well, and let me just make sure I saved Blackbird number 1, save the changes there. Okay. All right. So let me move the market down, and we'll test this scenario out. Now, of course, let me just reemphasize, keep in mind that there is no direct link between Blackbird 2 and Blackbird number 1. So, so things are not going to be happening, they may not happen exactly at the same time. So, in other words, when the stop loss for Blackbird number 1, when that stop loss gets triggered and it moves, it may take a tick or two for Blackbird number 2 to realize the same price action as Blackbird number 1. All right, so Blackbird number 2 is not performing any of its actions based on Blackbird number 1 moving a stop loss, right? So Blackbird number 2 is just counting tick movement, the same as Blackbird number 1 is counting tick movement. So the point is that there will be a subtle difference. There might be some subtle delays between the actions of Blackbird number 2 to the actions of Blackbird number 1. All right, looks like it's going to take a few bars before we get that short signal to fire off. So let me go back to the board here and see if I missed any questions. Oh, okay. Let me pay attention here to the chart. All right, so we're almost ready to. Cool. We got that order filled. So let's back the market up here and let's back the market up. Get the first entry filled. Get that limit order filled. Okay, come on. Move up there, market. All right, there we go. Okay, there we go. And so, yeah, the differences that we're having here is the anchor price. The anchor price at which Blackbird number 1 starts counting, and let's see. Oh, so let's see. Shoot, I missed it there. Actually, I wasn't. Too many things going on. Let me get another trade going here, because I think actually, I think the stop entry for Blackbird number 2, right? The stop entry OCO set A. I think it did cancel. I actually wasn't paying attention. I think it did cancel when that stopped to move, but B was still sitting up there. So let's close that out. So let's try this again here. And I'm not going to save this, but I'm just going to cancel B for now, so it's not. So I'm not getting distracted by B. So, but I won't save this. So, all right. So I'm going to get another long trade going here, and just and keep a closer eye on the entry order for BlackBird number 2 for the hedged order. Make sure that that hedged order is canceling when that stop loss moves. So yeah, so also let me, I guess while we're waiting on this, let me finish kind of explaining some differences between BlackBird number 1 and BlackBird 2 as far as this kind of reference anchor point. So in BlackBird number 1, right, we have a trailing stop loss, right, and this trailing stop loss, right, its initial delay is a 10-tick initial delay, but this BlackBird number 1, its anchor point at which it's calculating this 10-tick movement, in the direction of the trade, it's going to be from the entry order price, right? So BlackBird number 2, BlackBird number 1, it's going to have a entry price, the entry price of which the stop loss is created from. So it actually has a entry price reference point, to monitor this 10-tick delay from. But BlackBird number 2, it does not have an entry price, right? Because BlackBird number 2 is not in a position. So so this cancel after, right? This 10-tick against direction, canceling. Remember, the entry order has not been filled, so this cancel is this canceling obviously happens prior to the order getting filled. So the anchor point at which BlackBird can calculate this 10 ticks from is different, right? So that anchor point for the cancel is actually going to be based on where price is when the trade signal triggers, right? So here, on this Bloodhound signal, that's the anchor point price that the cancel goes from. But remember, BlackBird number 1, it actually had an anchor point that was 2 ticks from that, where the limit order got filled. So there's a difference in anchor points that these two different BlackBirds are using. So we will get some different behavior between BlackBird number 2 canceling its order and BlackBird number 1 moving its stop loss. All right, so let's test this again here. All right, almost there. And all right, yeah, so I think it's going to take another 2 ticks in order for the entry order. Yep, it did. Okay, so yeah, so let me, I wish I could just pause price here. So as I was pointing out, come on, give me an arrow. There we go. So the anchor point for BlackBird number 2 is the closing price of that bar, but the anchor price that BlackBird number 1 is using to move the stop loss is actually the entry price, right? So there's a 2-tick difference there, right? Because we put our limit entry, was 2 ticks below the closing price, right? So we got 2 different anchor points that each BlackBird is using, for the cancel versus the delay in there. So that should be an easy fix, right? So we'll go into BlackBird number 2, and we'll change our cancel after. We'll knock it down 2 ticks, right? We'll account for that 2-tick difference between where the bar closed and where our limit entry price is set to. All right, so let's see here. So let's just close everything out, and let's pull the market down and get us into a short trade here. All right, while we're waiting on this, I think I saw a question pop up here. Let me just double check. Let's see, so, all right, so Thomas, it sounds like you want to go back to the original idea of just canceling BlackBird number 2 when BlackBird number 1's profit target gets hit, instead of canceling it when the stop loss moves. So, all right, yeah. So Thomas, if you want to kind of explain when exactly would BlackBird number 1 move to break even plus 3 ticks, I can program that in. Oh, wait. So Thomas, it sounds like you're wanting the stop loss for BlackBird number 1. So the initial entry, the initial order. You want that stop loss to move to break even plus 3 ticks when the profit target gets hit. Although when the profit target gets hit for BlackBird number 1, the stop loss gets canceled, so it can't move to break even. Yeah, so Thomas, if you could just kind of clarify that, yeah, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. All right, and in the meantime, we're just about ready for another signal to show up here. Let me just kind of force it down a little faster. All right, so yeah, it looks like on this bar should generate the signal here. Okay. Now let's move price up, fill that order. All right, good deal, we're filled. Okay, so now I'm going to move price down, and so we're looking for the hedged order to get canceled once that stop loss moves. So that stop loss should move with 10 ticks of profit, and then and that order got canceled. Perfect. Okay. So there you go. So we were able to get BlackBird number 2 in sync with the stop loss moving. But again, if you're moving your stop loss of BlackBird number 1, if you're moving it around too much, then you're going to make things too complicated for BlackBird. You're going to make it too complicated to be able to program BlackBird number 2 to cancel its entry order at the right time. So, right. So really, it all boils down to one setting here, this cancel after setting here, right? So you can cancel after you have the first stop loss move. Basically you have to determine how far should price move in the favor of the original trade to when, at which, how far should price move in favor of the original trade at which point you decide that you want to cancel your hedge trade, right? So, yeah, let's see. Actually, you know what? That's right. I actually don't demonstrate this enough here. Let's see. Let's actually program a trailing rule here for the entry order so that the entry stays in line with the stop loss. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so okay, so I'm going to change, the canceling. We're going to cancel the order, cancel the entry order for BlackBird number 2. We'll cancel it when the profit target gets hit, and so we're going to switch it back to when the profit target gets hit. We're going to cancel the hedged order, and then on the trailing actions here, we'll make a trailing rule. Let's see. So all right, so we're going to move. We're going to try and move our entry with the stop loss of order number 1, right? Order number 1, or well, just to keep this shorter, I'll just say BlackBird number 1 here. All right, so let's see, initial delay. So we know we have our stop loss. So moving. So we know we want to use against direction, right? So if BlackBird number 2 is moving into a profitable position, then that means BlackBird number 2, the price is going against the direction for BlackBird number 2. And then let's see, so we know that we want to use 8 ticks instead of 10 ticks for that. And all right, so now the action, so here's where we're going to have to, yeah. All right, right, yeah, that's right. We got this previous order price. Let's see here. Yeah, let's use this previous order price and let's see, so all right, let's see. So BlackBird number 1 is in a long trade. Then BlackBird number 2 is in a short trade. So for the short side, we want to move it up 10 ticks. Yes, right. So the stop loss for BlackBird number 1 is moving up 10 ticks. And BlackBird number 1, for when BlackBird number 1 is in a long trade. So that means BlackBird number 2 is in a short trade, so we want BlackBird number 2 to move up 10 ticks. All right, I think, oops, there we go. All right, and there's no repeat, so this is, our stop loss is just, a one-time movement. So there's no repeat on this, so we'll leave the repeat to none. Yeah, there's no trigger, so we're just waiting for an 8-tick move against the direction. right? So yeah, so with Blackbird number 1 in a long trade, Blackbird number 2 would be in a short trade. And so if price keeps moving up, then price is moving against the direction that Blackbird number 2 wants to take a trade in, which is short. So price is moving up, so price is moving against the short position that Blackbird is trying to get into. So, all right, let's play with that. Let's see how that works. So let's push the market up, get us into a long trade there. Okay, so Thomas, it sounds like you have a second, like you have a runner with your order set there. Sounds like you're having you got a second order set that's a runner, right? Because that's the only way you could have a stop loss left, is if you had a second order set as a runner, which has a second, right? So that runner, yeah, with the second order set, right, there's no profit target for it to get hit, so the stop wouldn't get canceled. So yeah, is that what's needed there, Thomas? Is we need a second order set? Let me slow down the market here. So I might have time to get that second order set in, if that's the case. So, oh, here, I'll just go ahead and do it, just for the sake of demonstration here for anybody else. All right, so we're going to create a runner here, a second order set as a runner. So I'm just going to make a copy of order set A. I'm going to get rid of the profit target to make this a runner. And then the stop loss, I need to make a break even here. So let's cancel this. I'll make a new trailing rule. So this is a break even at profit target A. All right, break even at profit target A. So I'm going to use the trigger, and I'm going to use an order stat. I'm going to rush through this because I don't want to miss this crossover signal. So I'm just going to rush through this. So when profit target A here at 20 ticks, so we'll just say when any number, when anything gets filled, that's our triggering event. So when profit target gets some contracts filled, then we want to move to basically our entry price, which is break even plus 3 there. All right, that does it. Let's, I missed the signal. Shoot. All right. Well, we have it set up for next time for the next signal here, but let's go ahead and we'll run this set here through. All right, we got it filled. And so let's see, let's move. We want to move the market up so that we get about 10 ticks in profit, which will then move our stop loss up 10 ticks. And then the entry order, so the entry order, the hedged entry order for Blackbird number 2 moves up. Oh, looks like, okay, so it just happened. So the hedged order moved up a little too soon. Maybe it did. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. It could have just been that the entry order moved up first, and then the stop loss followed right afterwards. So, but yeah, we can see that they both moved up together there. So good. That one is working. All right. Yeah. Let me just put the trend in neutral, and let me take a look at Thomas's follow-up comment here. Okay, I see. So Thomas, that means your profit target is not 20 ticks, right? Because if your profit target gets hit, your stop loss gets canceled. So that means your profit target must be pushed out to, say, 30 ticks or 40 ticks. And then you want the stop loss to move to break even at 20 ticks. So, okay, so we'll move the stop loss out to 60 ticks. Okay, now that makes sense. Okay, good deal. All right. Okay, yeah, so let me go and make those changes here for the next signal setup here. All right, so we're going to adjust our profit target to be 60 ticks. Okay, there we go. And so let's go and adjust our adjust our stop loss here. So, all right, we'll add another trailing rule here. All right, so we're going to have a break even plus 3 at 20 ticks. All right, so set our initial delay here to 20 ticks, like so. And then we want to move that stop loss. So we're going to move it to our entry price, which is the break-even price, right? And then plus a positive 3 ticks. So for a long trade, right, that'd be a positive 3 ticks. Okay. That's that. All right, all done. So since this is a break-even, there's no repeat because break-evens can only break even once. So no repeat on that. So we kind of so we have two trailing rules here, and let's see. Yeah, we have two trailing rules here. So when we get to 10 ticks, right, we're gonna move our stop loss up 10 ticks, and it just kind of stays there. And then when we get 20 ticks, then we're going to move to break even plus 3. So, all right. So let's get rid of this runner here. So we get rid of that runner. And let's see, I'm going to save this. Yeah, so we'll save this. And then let's go make the adjustments in BlackBird number 2. And, all right. Just going to try and scoot this over so you guys can watch the chart there if you want. All right, so in BlackBird number 2, so the adjustments that we're making is actually with the entry order. It's going to be that will be canceled. Yeah, there we go. So that's going to be canceled when BlackBird number 1 reaches 20 ticks of profit, right? So we took 20 ticks and then subtracted the 2-tick difference, you know, between the anchor points of BlackBird number 1 and BlackBird number 2, right? So since the entry order, since we set it up that so the entry order has a kind of a 2-tick offset from the price bar, so we're taking that 20-tick profit target, subtracting 2 ticks there. All right, so we've got that. So we'll cancel there. And so actually we didn't have to make any adjustments there. That was already done. So let's just review the trailing rule here. Let's see. Yeah, again, we'll leave this trailing rule in place here for the entry order, right? So this entry order will move up when the stop loss for BlackBird number 1 moves up. All right, so let's see. Yeah, no changes there. All right, yeah, I think we're good. So let's save that. Okay. All right, so that's all set up for the next trade. So we need to finish this one up here. So let's just move the market up and get that profit target hit. And we're going to make sure that the hedged entry order gets canceled. All right, perfect. Everything was canceled. Looks good. Okay, so let's move the market down and let's set up for a short trade. All right, I hope you guys are learning a lot here. So this has been an exciting workshop for BlackBird in quite some time. So hope you guys are, we're keeping your interest here. I hope you guys are learning at least a little bit. All right, so it's got to take a couple of bars here to get this crossover to work. So, all right, now let me take a look at the comments here. So, okay, yes, Thomas. So, yeah, we'll test out all the scenarios with this, with the new order sets that we have in place. We'll test everything out here. All right, just a couple more bars, and we'll get those moving averages to cross over. Okay, great. Let's get a fill here. There we go. All right, so let's pull the market down. All right, so I'm just going to mark where the stop loss is. There's where that stop loss is at, and the entry order. So what we're looking for is once we get about 10 ticks of profit, we should get the stop loss and the hedged entry order to move down at about the same time. Perfect. All right. Good deal. And then once we get to 20 ticks of profit, our stop loss will move to break even +3, and then our hedged entry order gets canceled here. So that entry order should get canceled once our stop loss moves to break even there. All right, bingo. Cool. So, I mean, what that's telling us is that we got the math all worked out correctly. So, all right. Well, all right, yeah, there's really nothing left to do here. You know, when and if this profit target gets hit, you know, it's just going to cancel that stop loss. So here, I'll just move it up. We'll get it hit. All right. So now let's get into a long position, and we'll test a market failure here. So we'll test the hedged entry order. So, all right, let's see if there's anything new on the board here, on the chat board. No, okay, doesn't look like it. Okay. All right, so we're just hanging out, waiting for this next trade signal to pop up. I guess while we're waiting for this, let me ask, did anybody else in the room have any questions that they wanted to ask today? So we've been focusing a lot on this one particular question here, but if anybody else had any other questions, so let me know so I can make some time to get to your guys' question there. Okay, good deal. So let's see. I'm gonna get the stop loss and our hedged entry, you know, to move up. So let's do that. Let's get the, I'm going to get price to move up here a little bit so we can trigger that first stop loss movement. There's the entry order movement, and let's see. Yeah, it looks like the entry order is moving a little sooner than the stop loss is. So let's go in there and make an adjustment here. Yeah, so this trailing action looks like it's moving too soon. So maybe it's not 8 ticks. Maybe we need to wait for 10 ticks against the direction. So, all right, we'll test that out next time here. And all right, bingo, there we go. So our original entry order, right, got a stop loss hit, got stopped out, and then our hedged order got filled there, and we can see, I did put in a simple trailing stop loss there just for some fun, and bingo, so there we go. We got the got that hedged order filled there. So let's see. All right, so let's finish testing the order number one's stop loss movement with the hedged entry order movement, and let's test this again to see if they're see if I got the number of ticks set correctly so that they move in sync a little better. All right, so we're just going to have to wait for this a short trade setup here. Okay, good deal. All right, we're filled, and so let's now just wait for the market to wait for 10 tick profit here, 10 tick profit, and get both of these orders here to move together in sync. All right, almost there. 8 ticks, 9 ticks, 10 ticks. There we go. Now they move together in sync. All right. That looks like that's working good. And all right, let's just go ahead and we'll wait for 20 ticks in profit, in which case our stop loss will move to break even, and that hedged entry order then gets canceled. Okay, almost there. And oh, look at that. The entry order, the hedged entry order got canceled at 18 ticks. So yeah, we are having some differences between those anchor point prices. Yeah, so let's see. All right, yeah, so let's go make that adjustment here. So cancel after. All right, so let's up this to 20 ticks. Yeah. So actually, so one thing I'm not positive on is the exact anchor point that that is being used for the cancel after. And actually, now that I think about it, I do believe that I think that the price that is used as the anchor point, to calculate this 20 tick against direction, or the same anchor point is used to calculate a tick's in direction as well. So that anchor point changes all the time. So it's not, that's right, it's not using the bar price. It's actually using whatever last price BlackBird is able to capture as soon as BlackBird recognizes that there was a trade signal coming from Bloodhound. Or could be a trade signal coming from your third-party indicator as well. So right, so if the trading is taking place in a really fast-moving, chaotic market, right, that last price is going to be jumping around very fast, and so so the time the time it takes for BlackBird to capture that last price right after the signal occurs, that last price is going to change a little bit from trade to trade depending on how fast the market moves here. So I think, yeah, that's why we're getting some differences here between going from 18 ticks to 20 ticks. So I do have a let's see, I had to look it up, but I think it did put a request in to change that that anchor price so that it's not so random. So it's not so random, right? I think I have to double check this. It's been a while since I've discussed this with Jeremy, but I think I have a request in to make that anchor point the closing price of the bar, so that way it's consistent all the time versus trying to capture wherever the last price was. So, so let's see here. What's the next step? Okay, yeah. So we're gonna test this one more time. So I went in there and I was adjusting the cancel after. Yeah, I adjusted cancel after back to 20 ticks, and so let's now test that. Actually, let me save that. Make sure that got saved. There we go. All right, yeah. So let's just move the market up and generate a long signal here. Let's see here. It looks like there's some questions on the board. Okay, sure. Yeah, so Thomas would like to test the scenario where the stop loss does not move at all and the hedged entry order does not move at all as well. Yep. All right, so we've got a few bars to wait for before we get that crossover signal. Okay, it's a couple more bars. We're getting close to triggering that crossover signal. Okay. Great. All right. So let's just let's recreate this this failure scenario here. Actually, no. Let me finish testing the stop loss and entry order movement together. Sync there. Okay, great. They moved together. Nice. So now let's test the stop loss movement to break even and canceling that hedged entry order. And okay, yep, good. That I almost missed it, but yeah, it looked like it worked good. Okay, so let me generate a short signal now, and we'll test a complete failure of the trade and get that hedged order working. Wouldn't it be nice if the market just moved in nice big waves like this? Right, that'd be a trader's dream. Okay, so we're just going to move the market against the trade there and get that hedged position filled. One thing to note here, guys, you probably have noticed that sometimes it gets up to negative 20, right? It'll show you a negative 20 loss. That's because BlackBird has been programmed to not use the last price, but to actually use the bid and ask price. All right, so the bid and ask is what provides your correct P&L when you get out of the market, right? So you'll never get guaranteed to get filled at the last price, right? You're only guaranteed to get filled at the bid and ask. So BlackBird is showing you your P&L, your profit and loss based on the bid and ask prices there, not based on the last. So that's why there was a little difference between, all right, the profit and loss there showing negative 20, but not filling the order yet. So, okay, there we go. So everything got filled. All right, let's see. I'll just make sure that these files are all saved again. All right. Well, I think that just about takes care of Thomas's question. All right, guys. So with that, we'll wrap this one up, and let's see. All right. So have a good rest of your Friday, and enjoy the weekend, guys.